party is supporting. I will first of all request all of you is to please do exercise your right to vote. This is extremely important for us in this country. We need people in the office who can be our spokesperson, who understand our aspirations, who understand our needs, and is able to address it. And not those people have to be in the office that does not address. Now, unfortunately, the former MPP has not done that. I'm very disappointed in him, and I'm saying it very publicly. Now, he is very annoyed with me, so be it. I'm not going to mince my word, and neither I think you should mince your word. We as a community need to stand on our feet and be confident and hold accountable those who go into the office by our vote. So therefore, we have an onus on us is to make sure that whoever is elected, that they do address our needs, our issues, and our problems. Give an example. When we had Mr. Chinley over here as our councillor, he made our life miserable. It was unbelievable. Every second day, we had city officials walking over here, creating all kinds of issues and problems, and why this and why that, right? Unnecessary hurdles. Thanks God, the guy gone. He left, because of the constituency. And what happened is Jim Karagianis came in as our councillor. And believe it or not, in one meeting, everything got resolved. We just had a one meeting in the city with our lawyer, the city lawyer, and a whole bunch of officials from the city planning office. Everything got addressed. They understood, what the needs are, what the situation is, and then address it accordingly. So the reason I'm saying is that if we work as a community and unite our voice, then our issues and our problems will be resolved. But we also have to do our share for that. That means that we must take our responsibility also seriously and participate. A lot of the time we complain that, we are not being heard in this country, and this is happening and that's happening. Yes, all those issues are there. Unfortunately, what is happening, for example, in Israel, they just shot a journalist over there from Al Jazeera. Cold-blooded murder. Cold-blooded murder. I have no hesitation in saying it. But yet, the very Canadian government is quite over it. And the reason is because we have not done our part. So as a community, I will request and I will urge you, ask tough questions, exercise your responsibility and rights as well, and then we can demand, what we deserve, inshallah. So without further ado, I will request Sue, she's here, to speak to the congregation briefly and explain her, what she has done, inshallah, and then, I'm counting upon all of you to make a conscious decision in supporting, her office, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Take off my mask because I don't have a very good voice. I'm very tight. So good afternoon. Thank you very much, Farouk, for giving me this opportunity to speak to the congregation directly. So as you know, in less than a month, we will have a provincial election. Provincial election stands for Ontario election. We're the largest province in Canada. So our voices do matter. The Prime Minister will hear us. But more importantly, as a resident of Scarborough-Agincourt or residents for this province, you need to exercise your voice, as exactly what Farouk said. Your voice will only be heard if you exercise it at the ballot box. So I want to share with you that Farouk and I have been working behind the scenes dealing with the Metrolinx file. Okay, Farouk? I want to share a copy of the letter. I'm going to distribute. Adnan, one of my volunteers, Adnan, can you raise your hand? She's going to be right behind me to share this letter with you. But I'm going to share the letter with you because this is what Liberal will plan to do. So I'm encouraging Metrolinx to have a fair and transparent compensation to NAM that respect public funds, gets transit projects built, and more importantly, respect the cultural needs of the NAM and its goal of building sustainable and affordable housing for Muslim seniors in Scarborough. When Farouk came to my office last week, he had a private one-to-one with our leader, Stephen Duca. We raised this issue. So the Ontario Liberal Party is committed, if you read our platform, is committed to build seniors assisted living. So that is in our plan. The only way we can exercise that plan is everybody in this room and beyond vote. That's the only way we're gonna do it, okay? So I want to share that with you. I'm gonna share the letter with you, but also to ask each one of you, when you see a candidate knocking on your door, whether it's your apartment, at your house, or condo, you need to ask them, what is your contribution last 4 years if you are a sitting MPP? And what are you going to do for our community? The community is North American Muslim Foundation, your children's school as a school community, the hospital, right? The hospital is very, very important. But most importantly, you need to vote. It means nothing for me as your candidate, but also for our community if I don't get back in. We saw what happened the last 4 years. Rent went up significantly, and this morning Stephen Dudjiker was in Scarborough-Agincourt talking about rent control. Because when Doug Ford took office in 2018, he lifted rent control. So now the for-profit, many of the homes, apartments, and houses, they could go as high as 8%, 9%, 10% is the market, right? It's driven by the market. So it's only the Ontario government that can clamp or freeze the rent. When we were in office, our rent was between 1 to 2% increases. So I just want to share that with you, why election matters. How many of you have children or grandchildren in our school? Children and grandchildren in our school. Quite a few of you. I see children in this congregation. When you have full-day kindergarten, you can say thank you to Mr. McGinty, the former Liberal Premier. All of you have an OHIP card. OHIP card came to be when former Prime Minister, a Liberal Prime Minister, brought in OHIP back in the 60s. It wasn't the Conservative government, my friends, okay? So Liberal government always talk about the people. And yes, we made some mistakes. Let's own up those responsibility and be accountable. But at the end of the day, election does matter. That's why very shortly you will see the national drug plan. You will see $10 a day daycare that this current premier signed. He should have signed it earlier, because if you have children right now in daycare, you should have got your refund by now. Other provinces did, because this premier signed it towards the end of March. You will not get your rebates that fast, okay? So I just want to share that with you, why election matters. So if you're a Canadian citizen, I cannot stress enough why your privilege is a privilege, and your rights, and your responsibility as Canadian to vote. Because there are many countries out there, no one can vote. And so that's why we really need each one of you to exercise your rights and your responsibility. And to the young people who are here today, especially those who are still in high school and elementary school, I'm going to encourage you, go with your mom and dad when they go to vote. Because you need to see what the polling station looks like. Because at the end of the day, someday you will be voting, and you need to see what the polling station looks like. So I'm going to end my remark to say thank you to each one of you for your contribution to this great city called Toronto. And I look forward to serving you after June the 2nd. So thank you so, so much for being here, and to look forward to your support on June the 2nd. Now, before I leave, I want to encourage all of you, the advance vote starts next Thursday. So for the first time in Ontario, we have 10 days of voting. Starting May the 19th, here in Scarborough-Agincourt, you can vote at the old post office at Barterwood Mall, closer to Borden and Bartertown Circle. Stephen Leacock Community Center starting next Saturday, and then Lamoureux Community Center, which is over here at Kennedy and McNichol. And all the polling stations will be open at 10 o'clock in the morning till 8. You can always vote early. You can never vote late, okay? So I encourage all of you, when you can, please vote early, because there are circumstances that I experienced last election where families and individuals lost the right to vote because someone passed away, someone got sick, variety of reasons. We still have the pandemic right now. So it's really important that if you're planning to vote, vote early because you don't want to lose that right to vote. So thank you again. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Thank you.
So thank you. So I request now the brother can please start the line connection. Jazakallah khair for all your contribution to Masjid Furtullah. May Allah reward you for whatever you give in His way. Just quick announcements. Inshallah, I'm not going to be here for the next 2 weeks.